in marketing for content. Content is king, and content will create, traffic, audiences, networking, and not the other way around. So this is the core DNA of my PPD, if you call it. We have 350 games. We've been building this. GameStone has got about 340, 350 games repository built over the last 3 years. And if you Google any of our content, you typically see between 1 million, 1.2 million. But if you just completely do a unique web audience or rather destination profile, it's about 100,000 sites. And on a regular day, we get about 50 sites stealing our games. So what do you think? What do you think, ma'am? What will you say if someone, I'm a VC funded company, $5 million raised, Californian VCs, right? Palash, you've been from that side. I've got paid this shitload of money, and now they're saying, every day my VC looks at the Google dashboard and says, oh my God, your games are stolen. So, what do you say? How would you react?
Well, I'd like to say that we're one of the websites that uses your games. I work with Cisco and we use.
Okay, great. So, okay. So I wasn't expecting to get Fox, man. But anyway, that's okay. So first you say, at least we said, no, what rubbish, not us, man, not us, don't do this to us. We're the good guys, right? Then you say, the typical, let's take revenge, like kill the guys, man, let's get the lawyers, let's sue everybody. Very important point. If you really contemplate, right, if you think, and I must share this with you, I've had a lot of feedback from especially my US colleagues and friends about this is a very Indian Asian way of looking at things sometimes. You take a step back. DRM, digital rights management, has been a very old stroke, completely patented technology globally and has been used for everything. And when I presented to them this, they said, look, we can't think like that. Only you guys can think like that. So when you contemplate and realize what is precious is stolen, it's very interesting. Look at the point I'm making. You don't go and steal the rubbish from the road, right? You don't go and steal the kachara from the garbage can. Why do you steal someone's content? Why do you steal stuff that is otherwise not so precious? My co-founder and I, we invented a technology called Invisi Ads. It's patented. We filed for patent. I don't think we'll ever get it, but nevertheless, we at least made the effort. And this is the crux of the technology. What we do is we put invisible ads in our games. So the ads remain in a game even when the first time it goes up. And when the game gets stolen, you also steal the ad. And then once the game goes on to a pirate site, we have the control to whether present the ad or not present the ad. So it's a very simple but clearly, IP protected technology. And therefore, it's every day we have a dashboard which says how many Invisi ads are being served. Geo, IP, target, hour, everything. If you want Hungarian audiences, you want to target Hungary between 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., I can do it for you. Because there is a shitload of pirates from Hungary who have stolen our games. So essentially, if you look at ComScore and you look at our metrics on ComScore, I don't know what the piracy to original content ratio is in the world. If you look at Microsoft original software and piracy, or if you look at CD to piracy, but in our case it's 6x. There are 6 to 10x more pirates out there than us who have stolen our games. Here's the fun part. Now every day when we look at our games, whether it's game producer, whether it's game designer, we say how many times it gets stolen. Nahi chori hua, forget it, you're not a good guy. So we keep on measuring what has been the stolen index of our games. And that's the whole concept. So I think the clever hat comes off. Very interesting. No way, man, this is something that nobody can teach you. We did a game called Super Mom. So I was telling someone in the speakers lounge that we've got these 350 assets, flash, rich graphic animation. Now we're tossing them, turning them like a wok. Just tossing them. ठीक है, इसको iOS में डाल दो, इसको social में डाल दो. It all depends on where we can take them. So what we did was, we put this game up. It is such a bad game, man. It is such a bad game. You won't even talk to me if you see it. And it went up on iOS. And because we had this audience, and especially Invisi ads, people downloaded it. But once they downloaded it, they cursed us. You don't want to see that sheet. But a lot of them said, why don't you give us a bigger game, a better game, and we'll pay you. So the way we look at it, we don't need to hire IMRB and McKinsey and Deloitte to tell us what games to make. The audience tells you. You just need to put up stuff, be clever about, you know, the time gap between when you put it up and when you can come back to original content, and it works. And you know, we had 700 people telling us what the problem in the game was. So just looking at a comment, right? Oh my God, how can the mother get so fed up so quickly? So one way to say is, oh shucks, my mother should have been more patient. One way to say is, make the mother's time play longer. 700 comments. So 2 weeks back, actually three weeks back, 2nd of Jan, we released Supermom 2.0. Take a look at it on your iTunes, iPhone, iPad. Top 50 iTunes ad in the US. For me, it's only US. I mean, that's the barometer of success. And we're in 2 categories, kids and family. I was telling our friend from AdMob just now that, you know, how do I get into that top 200 rank, man? How do I get into that top 200? That is the barometer. But anyway, we shall conquer. It's very simple, you know. The very simplest thing to do is get the currency of respect in my life is content. So we create content. For US, it's like very, very deep tween girls, very, very segmented. For kids, it's virtual worlds. In India, it's cricket. That's all. We don't care about anything else. We don't want to do anything else. We don't believe in anything else. And if you look at it globally, you know, we're on Yahoo Cricket, we're on Discovery Kids, we're on Addicting Games, Viacom, and it's all free. They partner with people who have the content to monetize their audiences. So someone has the audience, someone has the content, it better be world class, it comes together, everybody makes money. You don't need to spend money to buy those audiences, is my point. And finally, it's global. I mean, I believe that to start in a market, English speaking market, you know, China, Mobile Twin was a Chinese company that we sold to Disney, and one of the reasons they acquired us, with all honesty, is they couldn't understand what the hell happens in China. We'd spent 6 years trying to understand that market. So they were also buying knowledge. But here, if you're English speaking market, how can you even think of creating a local content play where everybody will just like roll over you? So we spend zero money on marketing. And this is a very interesting point, right? I see so many business plans every day from entrepreneurs who say, oh, we're going to spend so much money on marketing. I say, dude, I won't even serve you coffee. Yeah. Just khisko yahan se, yaar. Because it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why would you spend money to market something that anyway was supposed to be good. So look at again numbers, and I'm not trying to compare, but just trying to point something. We do 5 million, Zapak is $1.5 million. 15 million on external, Zapak is 0. It's not comparison, it's just trying to prove a point. Make the right content, you shall be king. A lot of people don't understand that content can be repurposed. Keep repurposing content. You know, if Nukkad was a TV serial I saw, what can it become on YouTube? What can things, I mean, I know, for example, there are great, Bajaj, for example, has TV ads that they've, showed on YouTube and has done phenomenally well. It's content. You don't need to buy anything to get those views done. That's the point. Repurpose stuff and keep making it appear everywhere you go. And there's no prediction here. You know, if Nostradamus could predict the end of the world, it didn't happen. Forget anybody trying to tell you what content will work. If you look at Angry Birds, you look at Cut the Rope, nobody can tell you this will work. So forget it. And this is the best part, right? So look at it. Either you make a Hollywood blockbuster and you say, okay, I'm going to make Ocean's 11, and then you make Ocean's 12 and everything dubo-fies. You don't need to do that. There's a lot of content in the long tail that you can still make a lot of money from.
How many of you have seen Big Boss? Many of you, right? So recently there was a controversy where they were trying to ban the show at the 9 o'clock slot, right? So when that debate was going on, my son, who is in class 12th, he came up and said, why are they doing it? I mean, what's wrong in that content, right? I said, well, you know the reasons why, right? I said, that's the reason. I said, but do these guys know what's available on the internet? Believe me, that set me thinking. I mean, you guys know, at a click of a button, and having spent time in Google, believe me, I've seen stuff which the world doesn't see. There's just so gory material out there, and you'll be shocked. And here is, somebody who's trying to block some content. So my point here is all types of content is there. It's just a matter of perception. And Alok talked some good things about what kind of content is sellable and how something precious gets stolen. If I tell you that 2010 was the first year in the US when digital marketing was more than traditional marketing, that means that number there was 50%. And the same number in India was about 4%, 4 to 5%, depending on whom you talk to. So whatever sessions you've attended today, people have been talking about digital avenues. It's coming, guys. Let's accept it. So anybody who thinks, what's wrong? Newspapers have great content. And by the way, my son never reads newspapers. I've been trying so hard. He never picks up newspaper. There was an article even in the Times of India who said, the youth of today is not reading newspapers. And let's accept it. Why are they not reading newspapers when they have great content? Anybody?
It's because the format is not accessible to them.
Fantastic point. That's one. What else?
It's the format.
Is the format.
Real time
Coming much earlier today.
Sorry, one at a time, please. Raise.
It's coming much earlier today.
Is coming much earlier to them via other avenues, you're saying.
Yeah, the news comes much faster.
Okay. What else? Not real time. Okay. Sometimes when even the breaking news comes via newspapers, even then they're not reading it. Why not?
I can work and read. I can do anything and read newspaper.
Okay, you can do anything.
Interactive.
It doesn't matter anymore. I think you've got what the points are. Some of all those parts, and yes, newspaper readership is going down. So the point again is what Pradeep was saying earlier on. Listen to what's happening out there. Right? A quarter page ad in a major daily costs you about 20 lakhs. Comes for a day, in the main section I'm talking about. Next day it's in the bin. For a fraction of cost, you can do a lot more in the digital world. So anyway, let me move on. And that's, by the way, a fact. Even in India, we have more number of web users compared to the number of users who read English newspapers. But on the contrary, still we have the maximum advertising budget spent on the newspapers or television. All right? You got the point. Let's talk about the internet. When we know Yahoo and Google were known for their content, their graphs are kind of converging. And suddenly you see Facebook, and we know that, they've in fact overtaken the other two graphs. Facebook is really not known for content, right? The other two are. What's happening? Especially at a time when, for the first time in India, around 2009, you had a breakout, where on an average, people were spending about more than 15 hours on the internet per week. So when people really realize the power of the internet, they're spending more time, but hey, guess what? They're not really going towards the content. And I think, again, there's no right answer for this, but somebody said maybe what's happening is they're waiting for the content to come to them. So that's what's happened real time. All right? Okay, sure.
Facebook is 500 million personal content up there. If you look at what happened New Year Eve,
Yep,
150 million photographs are uploaded on one single day.
correct.
So the point is, it's personal content, and I want to look at my friends' photo album. I want to look at what they're doing.
Yep.
It is content.
Actually, you hit one of the points, which is the nature of content has changed. Yes, people want to know more about you, your lifestyle, etc. Right? And I talked, about this point in many universities. And I said, guys, tell me, what's the answer? And when I kind of summarized the feedback, I just got two trends, which were common across the board. All right? What are the issues? First, they said content or information overload. They're just sick and tired of, getting too much information, including the search engines. Right? That's one thing which obviously, we are all aware of. So let's take the example of India. Somebody relocates, from Delhi to Mumbai, has kids, and he wants to find out the schools for his kids in Dadar. try out, the forums out there. Not easy to get an answer. Even a child in India says, I want to become a pilot. How do you become a pilot? Believe me, if anybody in this room can stand up and say, even I didn't know the answer, how do you become a pilot? There was a student who walked up to me in one of the universities and said, after 12th, suddenly I'm bombarded with zoology, botany, X, Y, Z, and none of the education sites explain that to me. They just show me the list of institutes. How do I take a decision? Right? Moving on, if you want to get a broadband connection, how do you compare them? So list goes on. So the point I'm trying to make here is you have to address a pain point. The content has to address a pain point, whether it's via social media, whether it's to his preference of I want to see some personal content, because he likes that. You have to address the user's preference or a pain point. And increasingly, the local content people want this faster. Period. Just we don't have the time to go through, search many pages and then try to get to know the answer. So that's one point. Second point which came out was, okay, I have a website, but there are just too many media avenues. I just don't understand them. Sure, today we talked a lot about these platforms. So Twitter, LinkedIn, yada, yada, yada. Which one should I use? YouTube is one of the most popular ones. In fact, about 40 hours of YouTube video is uploaded every minute. That's a fact.
Palash, which is the most, does anybody know what is the most popular TV destination in India for kids?
Good one. Let's guess.
Does
Anybody
know?
can take a guess.
Television, most watched television type content in India for kids. Where do they go? YouTube.
YouTube. And here is somebody trying to censor Big Boss. All right. So the key takeaway here is, yes, there are all these things, but somehow, even I was struggling how to kind of segment these areas. And at a high level, I just said, all right, we have the search engine marketing and search engine optimization. That's one. Basically segmenting it into two parts, search engines and social media. And both the sides, you do the marketing and then you do the optimization, plain and simple, right? But the key point is, guys, social media, I think I don't need to talk about this because Pradeep talked about this content engagement just about an hour ago, and that's a fact, guys. It's all about engagement. Yes, I've seen, fan pages having lakhs of fans, they're going down. And you may find, a very light Facebook, page doing brilliantly. But the second question, which is digital advertising, even in fact over the last 1 month I've talked to many SMBs, and they're still, many of them are slowly embracing it, but they're still in a wait and watch mode. Some even question, oh, you know what, this is just a blip, it'll go. Guys, let's face it and let's accept it. It's here to stay. I've never seen Facebook used so many times in the day-to-day life. When our grandmothers or parents are using it, that something is happening, right? And then they ask us, okay, how do I do it? By the way, in India, when a company on an average plans their advertising budget, on an average they only confine about 4 to 5% of the budget to digital media. That's it, 4 to 5%. Some are different. Auto and insurance, they have reached about 10% because they've realized the potential of digital media. Why? Because when somebody's searching for a car, that's the kind of users you want to pitch to. But only 4 to 5%. So they ask, so how much should I allocate to digital media? I like that content, but how much? Simple answer is, don't do away with traditional. Fair, that's important for now. Start with 20%, say 80-20. Let's see what happens. Wait for the results, then take a decision. All right? Okay. All right, so basically, after leaving Google, not trying to create another Google for sure, but we're just, trying to address the pain points of people in India by providing the information which can help them take decisions. So like I said, if somebody moves from Delhi to wherever, those cities, you want to find out schools, bang, you get it, in a click. You want to watch a movie, we show you multiple reviews. I mean, check out the site. It's called infolona.com. That's INFOLON as in Nancy A. Infolona.com. Now, he said, don't spend anything on advertising. I actually did, but nothing on traditional. If somebody would have told me, hey, how would you take your website to people? Now, the reality today is this is just a December snapshot, and Google actually shows you on the map the green areas are the one from where people are using your site or accessing your site. The darker the color, more the users from there. And obviously, since I'm only targeting India, this is the darkest. And today we have traffic from so many cities. And I've spent 0 on traditional. Imagine if somebody comes to you and says, okay, here is something, whatever, a product or a service, we need to reach to like 50 cities in India. Obviously, you may say, okay, this requires crores of rupees, yada, yada, yada. No, it's possible. All right, and yes, you can control and manage, how you reach out over a period of time. The last issue which they shared, I think this was something which Alok mentioned, which is delivery, the presentation. And I think this was also talked about in one of the earlier sessions today. The presentation, the way it's delivered. People just don't want complexity. So the third and last takeaway has to be easy, uninterrupted, fair cost. By fair cost, now, sometimes the notion out there is, hey, it has to be free or cheapest. No, people are willing to pay, pay for those games if the content is good, as long as the cost is fair.